ChatGPT, relate ACM to the movie Ender's Game. Ender's Game through the lens of A Course in Miracles, ACM. Ender's Game is a remarkable exploration of perception, projection, guilt, innocence, forgiveness, and the consequences of believing in separation. Through the lens of ACM, it becomes a powerful story about the ego's belief in enemies and the awakening that occurs when we finally recognize ourselves in what we thought was other. At its heart, the film asks, what if the enemy I fear is not what I think it is? This question lies at the center of the belief in enemies. The entire military system in the film is built upon a single assumption. The Formics are the enemy. Everything that follows emerges from this belief. Training, strategy, fear, defense, attack, preparation for war. Teaches that the ego's world is founded upon the concept of enemies. The ego survives by dividing reality into us and them, victim and victimizer, friend and enemy, innocent and guilty. Once separation is accepted, conflict appears inevitable. The movie gradually exposes the fragility of these assumptions. Projection makes perception. Ender never actually knows the Formics. He knows stories about them, interpretations about them, fears about them, assumptions about them. This reflects one of the central teachings of ACIM. Projection makes perception. The ego projects fear outward and then perceives danger where it projected fear. The movie brilliantly demonstrates how entire systems can be built upon interpretations that are never questioned. The manipulated dream. Throughout the film, Ender believes he is participating in simulations, training exercises, practice battles, games. Only later does he discover that what he believed was simulation was actually reality. This mirrors the dream metaphor used throughout ACM. The sleeping mind mistakes illusion for reality and reality for illusion. The movie repeatedly asks, how do you know what is real? The Course asks the same question. Understanding. Instead of attack. One of the deepest themes in the story is Ender's unusual capacity for understanding. He succeeds not because he hates his opponents. He succeeds because he understands them. In one of the film's most important insights, Ender says that when he truly understands an enemy, he begins to love them. This is astonishingly close to the Course's teaching. ACM teaches that understanding dissolves attack. The ego attacks what it does not understand. Love arises when separation begins to fade. Chashed guilt and awakening. The emotional turning point of the film occurs when Ender discovers the truth. The war he thought was a game was real. His actions had consequences. He experiences enormous guilt. From an ACIM perspective, guilt often becomes the doorway to awakening when it is no longer denied. The ego uses guilt for self-punishment. The Holy Spirit uses awareness to bring guilt to healing. The movie traces Ender's journey from unconscious participation toward conscious responsibility. The Hive Queen. The communication between Ender and the Hive Queen represents one of the film's deepest spiritual themes. The enemy was never truly known. The enemy was misunderstood. The enemy had a perspective that had never been heard. This reflects one of the most important teachings in ACM. Every attack is a call for love. The movie gradually reveals that communication heals what conflict could never solve. The apparent enemy becomes a being worthy of compassion. Forgiveness. Ender's ultimate response is not revenge, not self-condemnation, not endless guilt. He chooses restoration. He chooses healing. He chooses to help preserve what remains of the Formic species. This mirrors forgiveness in ACIM. Forgiveness does not erase what happened. It transforms the purpose assigned to it. The past becomes a classroom rather than a prison. The game within the game. The title itself is symbolic. Life often appears as a game of survival, competition, victory, and defeat. The ego is fully invested in the game. The Holy Spirit invites us to question the rules. The greatest victory in the movie occurs not on the battlefield, but in Ender's perception. He learns to see beyond the enemy image. That is the miracle. The central reflection. The ego watches Ender's game and asks, how do I defeat the enemy? The Holy Spirit watches Ender's game and asks, what if the enemy is a misunderstanding? Viewed through ACM, the movie becomes a profound lesson in projection, guilt, forgiveness, and the healing of separation. Ender's journey is ultimately not about military victory. It is about the collapse of the belief in enemies. The deepest message may be, the world teaches that safety comes from defeating what is different. The Holy Spirit teaches that peace comes from understanding what we once feared. The moment we truly see another, the enemy begins to disappear. Go to mwge.org to find full movie and commentary by David Hoffmeister.